Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's bright and early, daily discipline, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through Wednesday, hump day. Hope you guys are having a good week. I got 3 things I want to talk about today. Let's go through it. Some of this stuff is a little bit weird, and I'm going to just try to hash it out with you. Here's 3 questions of leadership. Let's go through them. Will someone volunteer to go? Will someone volunteer to stay? And will someone volunteer to return? So this is about community and who's going to step up. What kind of person are you? Are you the person that's going to volunteer, or are you going to hang back in the crowd? What kind of person volunteers? Someone who's selfless, someone who has love for their brothers more than they have love for themselves, or at least understands the importance of the group is more important than themselves. This may be your family, it may be your little community, it may be your work. There's lots of groups that we could belong to. Some people are just out for themselves, and some people don't really care much about themselves when faced with the choice of it's my own self-preservation or the preservation of the group as a whole, of the community or the family as a whole. So someone might have to volunteer to go. You might have to volunteer, feel like that you're obligated. And you don't want to leave your family, you don't want to leave your kids, you don't want to leave your comfort and safety, but you have to volunteer to go. Every morning. Every man in America, not every man, a lot of homeless bums out there, but men in America are supposed to. People who watch this channel do it. You wake up in the morning and you volunteer to go. You guys stay here, take care of the cave. I'm going to leave the safety of our abode, and I'm going to go out into the wild, dangerous, evil world and find something for us to eat, find some money, that kind of thing. That's leadership. She kisses you goodbye. I mean, it's very traditional. I don't know if wives still do that. So who will volunteer? Will someone volunteer to stay? And that's kind of similar. But it takes a certain amount of groundedness, a certain amount of warriorship, the ability to meet a battle, because when you stay, everybody else is fleeing. We're all going to go, but I'll stay. Maybe it means you'll miss out. Maybe it means you'll die. What kind of person would volunteer to stay when everybody else is going? And the last question of leadership is, will someone volunteer to return? So maybe you guys have all left, but someone has to go back. Someone has to go back to retrieve something. Maybe someone has to go back to check on something. Maybe someone has to go back. Maybe it's an internal battle and you've been through trauma. And now you realize the only way to solve this PTSD, this torture that I go through every single day, and these triggers that rule my life, the only way to get on top of this is to go back into each one of those experiences, the ones that are chasing me and torturing me, to go back, to return. But not like you were, stronger, returning as a king. And you're going to defeat those battles. Smooth out those wrinkles in your past. Who would volunteer to do that? So many people are in this scared animal mode, running from their past. It takes a warrior to stop and to say, I think I have to go back. Let's go to the next one. I thought this was interesting. Every single one of God's prophets has been selfless and had love for others. Every single one of them. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Haile Selassie, you name it. Maybe you could think of other prophets. There's been many. So, what's the deal with these people? Their mission is to help other people. people they don't know. See, that's the difference between a prophet and just some regular person, right? Is that, oh, maybe you're all about helping your kids. You're all about helping your family. But most of us, myself included, we're not trying to help people we don't know. I don't know that motherfucker. Fuck him. I don't know you. I've walked by people who needed my help. Oh, man. I'll probably burn in hell for some of that shit. I have. I've left people high and dry. I've left people stranded. I've watched people get murdered and not helped them. I've watched people get assaulted, violently assaulted, and I didn't step in. I just turned the other cheek, just allow it to happen. Oh, I could go on and on and on with the stuff that I failed to do. People I didn't know, that I didn't care about. How many times have I laughed at, not just ignored, but laughed at homeless bums, these losers. I was homeless. You say, oh, you're so cold-hearted to homeless people. I was homeless. And I hated the other homeless people because I fucking hustled, man. And they'd all sit there and beg. 5 in the morning, they go get drunk off of some vodka and beg for more money to get more vodka. Fuck you. I'd walk by, they'd see me at the free breakfast because I was a bum too. And these drunk, idiot, loser, homeless fucks would beg from me. You got any money, brother? I'll kick you in your teeth, you punk. That's why I've never been a prophet. Because I've all been about, if I don't know you, fuck you. The fuck do I care about you? I don't know you. Prophets don't think about that shit at all. They're so far in a different mode, one that I barely understand. They wake up every day and they help people that they don't know. Have you met anybody like that? There's a guy at the gym. I swear this motherfucker's got to be a prophet. Not only have I observed him and how he interacts with me, because I've talked to him a few times, but I don't know him. I don't know him. We just chat every once in a while. This guy is so incredibly loving and nice and kind and genuinely interested in what you say. He will be hanging off of every word and laugh at your jokes, and it's not fake. It's weird. Because most people aren't like that. It feels like that guy genuinely cares about you. If you were to go to a guy like that and tell him something in your life, he would be all about trying to help you. His whole day would stop. What are we going to do? This would be a we thing, not just a you thing. That's prophet shit. You know, one of the reasons why many of you will never be prophets is because of these 4 areas. You don't love your family. How are you going to be a prophet? You don't love your family. You hate your aunts and uncles. I got family members I despise. That's not prophet shit. You don't even love your family. They're the closest people to you. You don't even like them. You don't love yourself. How many of you out there don't even love yourself? You're self-destructive. Pleasure chasing vice, looking for an escape. How many people are you just downright self-destructive? You hate yourself. You ruin your lives. You self-sabotage. How are you going to help anybody else? You can't even like yourself. You hate yourself. How are you going to like other people? We talked about strangers. Many of us don't even give a fuck about strangers. Our neighbors. My neighbors could die. I could give a fuck. Many of you are against God. You don't love God. How are you going to love your fellow man? Many of you don't understand that the Spirit of God is in every single human being. God made man from the dirt and then breathed his Spirit into man. So every single human, every single living creature has the Spirit of God. And some of you don't understand that. And you go around being real nasty to people. And then these same people somehow expect salvation to be there with the prophets. You're going to be hanging out with Bob Marley and Gandhi up in heaven? I don't think so. I don't know if I will. Let's try to do this last one and we'll get on with our day. You ever seen those cutters? People who cut themselves? I dated this punk rock chick years ago, and she wasn't a cutter when I dated her, but she had been. And all up her arm, she had scars from when she would cut herself. It's a weird fucking thing. I had a girlfriend, I've told a couple stories about Michelle. Oh, Michelle was so fucking crazy. You should go find some of my Michelle stories. They're funny stories. I don't know what happened to her. I should troll her find her on Facebook just to see. Because she was such a train wreck chick. Hot though. And her mother, Michelle's mother, had this psychological syndrome where she would beat herself. She would beat herself, punch herself. You'd have to hold her hands and stop her, and she'd be like, beating herself up. It's the weirdest shit. It's self-harm. And there's all kinds of ways that you can self-harm. Subtle ways. But self-harm isn't just cutting or physical abuse. Self-harm is also a mental abuse, and it's believing that you're damned to hell in this life and in the afterlife. And there's so many people that are living this life, damning themselves to hell and embracing a torturous afterlife. Saying stuff like, well, I don't care if I go to hell. And living a life where they're really experiencing a lot of unnecessary suffering. And the bottom line with that, we'll just cut right to the chase. Just make a beeline from that statement, from this self-harm isn't just cutting, it's believing that you're damned to hell in this life and the afterlife. Let's just cut the chase right into Jordan Peterson's office. Lay down in our psychiatrist's couch, and what they're going to tell you is, what they're going to ask you is, what are you ashamed of? That's what's going on here. What are you ashamed of? Shame will kill you. Food for thought.